Good evening, everyone. We're going to start tonight's meeting. Please stand and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided as follows. On January 12, 2026, notice was sent to the Home News Tribune, Star Ledger, Tap into Linden, Union County Local Source, and the clerk of the municipality. By state law, there is no smoking permitted in this building at any time. At this time, we're going to open up comments from the public. I'm sorry, we're gonna go back. We're going to, sorry about that. At this time, we are going to vote on agenda items from our previous meeting.
We got roll call.
I'm sorry, everyone. We have a new format of our agenda, and it is not really great for us at this moment. So, roll call.
Mr. Campo.
Here.
Ms. Cintron. Is she online?
Is she online?
Ms. Cintron. All right, well, let me call Dr. Berghammer. Yes. Mr. Holleran.
Yes. Here.
Kalia.
Present.
Ms. Cintron. Is that her? That's her. Ms. Pino.
Aye. Present. Sorry.
Ms. Julise. Speaker, it sounds like it's another. Ms. Armstead.
Present.
And Ms. Thomas.
Present. Thank you.
Hi, Cintron is present.
Thank you. We got it.
All right.
Okay, at this time, we are going to move on to the approval of minutes. Motion to approve minutes from the regular meeting held on February 26. Copies are in the hands of board members. Respectfully ask for a second. Second. Roll call.
Mr. Campo.
Yes.
Ms. Cintron. Ms. Cintron. Mr. Holleran.
Yes.
Ms. Pino.
Yes.
Ms. Armstead.
Yes.
And Ms. Thomas.
Yes. At this time, we're going to move on to comments from the public. Members of the public desiring to make a public comment may come forward at this time. For those watching online, if you wish to make a comment or ask a question, please utilize the raise your hand feature on an online meeting platform. Please begin your comments by stating your name and address. Individuals are invited to speak on one topic at a time, and no individual will speak more than once until all individuals so desiring have spoken once. The public is reminded that to ensure the efficient and orderly operations of the meeting, members of the public will be limited to speaking on agenda items for 3 minutes. Is there anyone online? Okay, perfect. At this time, we'll move on to the Board President's report. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us at tonight's Board of Education meeting. Since our last meeting, members of the Linden Board of Education have remained actively engaged across our schools and throughout the greater Linden community. It has been a meaningful and productive month filled with opportunities to support our students, families, and important community initiatives. Over the past month, our commissioners proudly participated in and supported the following: served as Black History Month guest readers at School 2, attended the Linden NJROTC annual military inspection, participated in guest reading at the School 8, supported our students at the boys basketball team championship game, attended a Women's Day programming, including the House of Hearts Network Women's Leadership Brunch, provided testimony before the Assembly Consumer Affairs Committee in support of the bill A4523, the Fair Price Protection Act, Commissioner Armstead drafted and introduced the Immigration Enforcement Access and Student Privacy Resolution. We've also supported a community initiative with Sunrise Airways celebrating its inaugural flight from Newark to Cape Hyacinth, Haiti. Did I say that correct, Mrs. Armstead? Okay. Thank you. Joined in recognizing our Chinese exchange students during their send-off, which we actually just left from a few minutes ago. These moments reflect the board's continued commitment to being present, informed, and connected to the needs and experiences of our district and community. We also held our second board president hours on March 4th. While attendance was small, the conversation was thoughtful, honest, and productive. Topics discussed including creating an integrated school and PTA events calendar, expanding teacher and parent engagement opportunities, supporting smoother student transitions from elementary school to middle school and from the middle school to the high school. We talked about exploring ways to strengthen parent recognition, as well as feedback on the name and format of Board President's Hours. I just want to take a moment to personally encourage families and community members to join us. I find that from our past 2 meetings, I've only had about 2 people come and join, and we are calling you to just come and join us, come talk with us, engage with us. We need you all, and that's what we're gonna keep on pushing for. These gatherings are not meant to feel formal or intimidating. They are simply a space to connect, share ideas, ask questions, and build together in a relaxed environment. We want this to feel welcoming and community-centered. So our next board president's meeting office hours will be held on the 2nd from 6:30 to 8:30, and then we'll continue the first Wednesday of each month thereafter. And yes, there'll be snacks, and I think I should bring games, just to get more people out, more of an incentive, allow us to be interactive and engaged, because we are really calling you to come out. So if you know how to play Uno Reverse, Uno Flip, Monopoly, Connect 4, come join me, let's talk. So come out and join us. We need you. Your voice matters, your ideas matter, and your presence matter. Lastly, as we continue through this season of reflection and celebration, I wish everyone a happy Women's History Month as we honor the strength, leadership, and impact of women in our schools, homes, and communities. Thank you for your time, your trust, and your continued engagement with the Linden Board of Education. And at this time, I will hand it over to Dr. Perkins for her superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll echo what you just now said, that it is March Women's History Month. So all of my women out there, right? You look great. Keep on leading. And thank you for your leadership over the board, Madam President. So again, good evening to everyone out there. I see familiar faces, new faces, but I do want to just take a moment and shout out the wrestling team that's here tonight. Thank you for being here. We also have 2 phenomenal basketball players here tonight, and we're so thankful. And coaching staff. Before I turn it over to our athletics director, I'd like to just share some other things going on in the district. I start the superintendent's report with sharing any loss that we've had in the district, and I'd like to acknowledge that we had a staff member who was hired in 1985, Albina Benny Wetzel, and she was a 12-month secretary at Seoul Middle School. In 1990, she transferred to McManus Middle School, and she served in the guidance department. She passed away on March 11th, and we just want to offer our deepest condolences to the family and all loved ones. Her dedication will always be remembered here in Linden Public Schools and on behalf of the Board of Education. We have 3 staff retirements. Dawn Calvano, she started in January of 2020, 6 years as a teacher of math at Seoul Middle School. Rocio Horzepa is a teacher of Spanish at Linden High School, and she started here in the year 2000 and servicing 25 years as a teacher. And then we have Maureen Stratus, who is a secretary, confidential secretary to the Director of Human Resources in the administration building, and she is going to be retiring along with everyone else with 18 years of service here in the district. So we thank all three of these professionals for your support, your service, dedication to Linden Public Schools, for showing up and being a representation of our diversity, our commitment to service and learning of all of our students and staff. We wish you a phenomenal time on the next journey of your next career entitled Retirement. Our district data profile, our student enrollment, it changed by 5. It decreased by 5 students from February to, 2024 to now 2025. We currently have 6,474 students on roll. For our attendance, we continue with our LPS Show Up and Roar initiative. It's a hashtag, and we're just combating chronic absenteeism. And we have 92% of students have been present. There has been an increase of 20% from last year this time. And for chronic absenteeism, I'm pleased to say that there was a decrease by 0.55%. And so our rate is 23%, but it is a change from last year. Our staff attendance from last month has also decreased. 56% of absences required a substitute. 29% required a substitute, and we had 58% of staff absences for the month of March. Our current vacancies, we are still in need of 8 special education teachers, 3 mathematics teachers, 3 science teachers, 1 technology teacher, 1 maple wood shop teacher, and 7 paraprofessionals. That number from last month decreased by 4, so we still have active efforts out for seeking employment. And again, it's on our website. We publicize it on our social media platforms. We're going to be putting it on our marquees. And one of the things supervisors shared with me last week, this is the time to begin recruiting again for next year as well. We have students who are going to be graduating from colleges in May. And so if you know someone that can be a great fit for our district, who has a gift to service students, we have many different pathways to help bring them on, but also to be representation of the greatest products that come out of Linden Public School, and that's through us being a student, a teacher, and being able to serve our students. For our uniform compliance, school number 1 had 70% of perfect compliance. School number 2 had 93%. School number 4, 75%. School number 5, 96%. School number 6, 62%. School number 8, 96%. School number 9, 75%. School number 10, 37%. McManus, 18%. Seoul, 6%. And Linden High School, 12%. As a whole, total for the district, 40% of the days of compliance was carried out in March. As the weather is changing, I'd like to remind everyone that the district has the dress code policy, and please, our students are to be in uniform. Students asked me last week again, is this my rule or my leadership stance on uniforms? And I remind all students, and please do the same, that this was a collective effort from the community where we serviced all parents and guardians and we had an overwhelming response of yes to implement the uniform dress code. We will be continuing with that for the 25-26 school year, so please, let's continue to end the year strong. And with that, as we're talking about the End of the year. On tonight's agenda, you will see the end of the year calendar, and it indicates those moving up ceremonies, pre-K, kindergarten, and 5th grade. It also indicates high school, middle school graduation dates. It also indicates that spring break is coming. We are going on spring break next Thursday, April 2nd. It is a half a day with lunch. I like to remind everybody, we had 3 snow days. As a result of having a 3rd snow day, we must come back a day early during spring break. So school will resume on Friday, April 10th. It will be a half a day, no lunch served. It will be a Tiger Pride Wellness Day because we believe the mission is possible, where we're looking at social emotional learning activities, but we need everyone to come to school. We are held accountable from the state to ensure that we have 90% attendance rate of students for our day to count. So we have to have our students in school. So this is a plea, as we're also pushing forward with our LPS Show Up and Roar hashtag, come to school. And thank you all for being here. I'd like to just also give a big, our thoughts and our well wishes are with our students who are going to be going over to China, leaving tomorrow. So we're so thankful that this trip is being sponsored and available through the efforts of parents, community, and led by our World Languages Department. And our teachers and staff that are going to be going with students serving as chaperones. We wish you a safe, wonderful trip of experiences and exposure to a new culture, and to bring it back to align with our district's vision, which speaks to we are a diverse community of learners, and we welcome student voice and input through learning experiences. I also like to just give a big acknowledgement, shout out, again with Women's History Month. Our girls flag football team had their first win last night, and we are so thankful for our high school girls. Yeah, give it up, we had a win. This is our 2nd year with having our girls flag football team, and they are standing strong. So I will turn it over now to our student representative, Anais, who's going to speak of high school life, and then it will then be turned over to our athletics director, Mr. Firestone. Thank you,
Dr. Perkins.
You're welcome.
I'd first like to begin by giving an announcement to the 12th graders and their families to ensure that all students are walking at graduation. We'd like to announce a reminder that the deadline to purchase your cap and gowns is the approaching March 31st. For our academic highlights per grade level, for our 11th graders, on March 16th to the 19th, all LHS 11th graders participated in the NJGPA New Jersey Graduation Proficiency Assessment. As the 2026 to 2027 scheduling season begins, we would like to encourage students to remain in contact with their counselors to plan for the following school year's course load. 10th grade students at LHS are also looking forward to advancing into higher level courses, such as the International Baccalaureate program. We'd like to give a congratulations to Natasha Lopez and David Montez de Oca for being selected for the 4-year Navy ROTC scholarship. Natasha and David will be, sorry. I apologize. Natasha and David will be commissioning to the United States Navy upon completion of their bachelor's degree in the college of their choice. For our student life and engagement, we'd like to give a congratulations to Zaire Kimbrough for being honored as the 2026 Unsung Hero during the Union County School Boards Association Unsung Hero Awards ceremony on March 11th. On March 10th and March 11th, LHS hosted the Breakfast with the Principal to honor students who achieved perfect attendance for marking period 3, as well as students who also achieved the Principal Honor Roll. We'd like to congratulate the 500 students at LHS who received their certificates at these events. As for arts and enrichment, Linden High School's Fine and Performing Arts Department is proud to present The Little Mermaid, March 26th through the 28th at 7 p.m. On March 27th, they also have a show at 2 p.m. For athletics, we'd like to congratulate the senior Braden Delbrun on his 5th place finish in the high jump at NJSIAA. Meet of Champions on the 8th, Braden finishes the season with a personal best 6'6" and a share of the school record. We'd also like to wish all LHS spring athletes the best of luck for the spring 2026 season for the following spring sports: baseball, softball, girls flag football, track and field, boys volleyball, and boys tennis. We'd also congratulate Marley McDonald and wishing her the best of luck, who is participating in the 2026 Eastern Zone Sectional Swim Meet at the Ithaca College from March 26th to the 29th. As for Student Voice, we'd like to give thanks to the LHS administration for holding an assembly for students to voice their opinions and concerns regarding the ICE activity within Linden. The 11th grade students are also relieved to have completed the New Jersey Graduation Proficiency Assessment and are looking forward to spring break. As for our school culture and events, on March 2nd, the Science National Honor Society had their field trips to Students to Science and conducted live lab work along with the IB chemistry students. Today, the Bible Club also had their trip to see Sight and Sound. On March 24th, the Chick-fil-A Leadership Academy visited Seoul Middle School to mentor the middle school students with a presentation on the KIND campaign. And lastly, for our NJRTC, on March 5th, the Linden High School held their annual AMI, Annual Military Inspection, and Award Ceremony with over 550 cadets in attendance. We'd also like to give a congratulations to the eighth graduating seniors who were honored at this ceremony for their commitment to serve in the United States Armed Forces. The following student is committing to the United States Air Force: Tamila Sherifi. The following student is committing to the National Guard: Stephen Vasquez Perla. And the following students are committing to the United States Marine Corps: Aaron Buccino, Filippo Ferretti, Valentina Hernandez, Alexander Mendoza, Deshaun Myrick, and Christopher Raza. Thank you.
Thank you, Anais. And now I'd like to call up our Director of Athletics, Mr. Firestone, for sports recognition.
Good evening, everyone. It is truly an honor to be here tonight, and I'm especially grateful to be back again after having the opportunity to recognize another group of outstanding student athletes at the last meeting. I would also like to express my sincere appreciation for the continued support of Superintendent Dr. Perkins, Mayor Derek Armstead, Board President Malaysia Thomas, and the entire Board of Education. Your commitment to our students and athletic programs plays a vital role in their success. I would also like to take a moment to recognize and celebrate the outstanding accomplishments of our winter student athletes. Their dedication, perseverance, and commitment to excellence continue to make our school community proud. At this time, I would like to recognize our bowling team. Now, I know a lot of our bowling members, there's 5 of them, which sounds small, but man, do they show up. And they showed up so well that they took 2nd place in the Union County Championships this winter. Have a round of applause. I know, unfortunately, a lot of them couldn't make it tonight. Is anyone from the bowling team here? No? Okay. Either or, our bowling team did have an exceptional season, finishing, like I said, 2nd place in the county tournament. This achievement reflects their hard work, consistency, and teamwork throughout the season. I would also like to share Jamie Politi and Sarah Remolgado both placed in the top 100 in the state of New Jersey, which is a tremendous accomplishment at that competitive level. I would also like to share that Jamie Politi has earned a full academic scholarship to attend the Wharton School of Business, an incredible achievement.
Wow.
Congratulations again to our bowling team, tremendous. Next, I would like to call up Jakai Burnham and Jaron Barnett from our boys basketball team. And Coach Desmond Wade as well. Thank you. All right. Both Jakai Burnham and Jaron Barnett have surpassed 1,000 career points. An elite milestone that reflects years of dedication, consistency, and excellence on the court. Scoring 1,000 points is not just about talent. It is about commitment, perseverance, and the countless hours of hard work put in behind the scenes. Because of this incredible achievement, their names will now be permanently recognized on the 1,000-point scorers banner inside our gym, along with the other great players who have reached this milestone. Having their names visible on the banner ensures that their accomplishments will be remembered and seen for years to come by future generations of student athletes. Please join me in congratulating them on this outstanding achievement.
Should their parents come up or the parents should? The parents should come up. They should get a picture with their parents. The parents
Oh
should
yes,
come up.
parents, come on up.
That's the most important part.
Yes. Congratulations, guys. Congratulations. Okay. Next, I would like to recognize Alvaro Fernandez Jr. from our boys wrestling program. You may recognize his name as his father, Alvaro Fernandez Sr., is the head coach of our boys wrestling program, whom we recognized last year for his 100th career coaching win. This season, we witnessed something truly special. Alvaro Fernandez Jr., a freshman, captured the Union County Championship at 175 pounds. He became the program's first county champion since 2019 and only the third in program history. Even more meaningful, he accomplished this while being coached by his father. Alvaro was also named the most outstanding wrestler in the upper weights, an extraordinary achievement, especially, again, for a freshman. Coach, what a special moment this must have been for you, witnessing your son achieve this level of success in his freshman year. Congratulations to the both of you. Let's give them a round. back next year.
He doesn't look 175. No. He wrestled like 140.
Okay. Finally, Coach, don't go anywhere. I would like to call up the entire boys wrestling program. All right. This season, the boys wrestling team captured the Mountain Division Conference Championship, highlighted by a dramatic and hard-fought victory over Arthur L. Johnson at home. This was not just a win, it was a true team effort that showcased the depth, resilience, and determination of the entire program. Conference championships are not won by one individual. They are earned through consistent effort across every weight class, every match, and every practice. It requires athletes to step up in critical moments, support one another, and stay mentally tough from start to finish. This group did exactly that. Winning a championship like this speaks volumes about the culture of the program, the discipline, accountability, and commitment that these student athletes bring every single day. It is a direct reflection of their hard work and the leadership of their coaching staff. What a special season for all of you. Let's give them a well-deserved round of applause. All right, great job, team. Great job, coaches. These achievements that we witnessed tonight go far beyond wins and titles. They represent the character, discipline, and pride that our student athletes bring to their teams, their school, and their community every single day. I would like to thank our coaches, families, Board of Education, and administration for their continued support of the athletic programs. Most importantly, I want to congratulate our student athletes for their hard work and for representing our school with integrity and sportsmanship. Thank you, everyone, and have a good rest of the night.
Thank you again, Mr. Firestone, and again, congratulations to all of our athletes. Now at this time, I am going to turn it over to our business administrator, Mr. Serapilya, who will be conducting our annual board budget presentation. Mr. Serapilya, before we get into the presentation, we are going to review some pieces of the agenda, right?
Yeah, she wants to go over the resolution. So,
Save it to me event for last year. I like that.
Everybody leave. Everybody leave.
Yeah, nobody wants to do it. I chased them all. I told Brianna we can move it to policy. I don't know. What's that? Yeah.
Who's asking?
That was the sloppy sandwich.
Oh, okay.
I can talk about it.
Is he doing a presentation? You don't have 4. You don't have enough for 5. Yeah, we have 5. Yeah, we have 5, yes. I think we should review it.
at this time, we are going to move on to our board agenda items really quickly. So at this time, we are going to move on to the education report. Do you want to do the attorney's report?
I mean,
Do it under the
we can do the attorney
policy?
report. There's an item on the attorney report that really isn't an attorney item. It's a policy item that board trustee Armstead spearheaded regarding policy for our staff in the event that there are any immigration or ICE issues in the school and how staff should proceed. We can vote on it now, but it's probably a policy matter. But it's up to you whether you want to do it now as part of the attorney report.
I would prefer to do it because, unfortunately, I do have to leave, and I don't like to miss Board of Ed meetings, so I came.
Okay.
So if we could, that would
So
be
then I
appreciated.
will, the attorney presents the following recommendations to the Linden Board of Education for approval. I guess it's item C1. This new format is.
Yeah, this new format is like
Do we have to?
well, it's because of I think it's the online
Yeah.
version, so when they print it, it comes like this.
So I'll ask for a motion and a second on the resolution that is on the attorney report.
I would like to respectfully make a motion to approve the Immigration Enforcement Access and Student Privacy Resolution. I respectfully ask for a second.
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 The board seconds. Any discussion?
No, but I can, if you want me to give context, I can give context. So I'm not sure if many of you are aware, but the Attorney General there was a act passed called the Safe Communities Act that was passed by our governor, and it was instructing our Attorney General to provide all school districts with protocol and guidelines for teachers to have in the event that ICE was ever on the facility. So this is not like a political agenda. It's just a preemptive approach. Our district is one of the first districts to actually put pen to paper because it has taken the Attorney General's office a very long time to actually implement some of these guidelines. So good evening, everyone. I'm presenting this resolution to reaffirm our district's commitment to maintaining a safe and welcoming and accessible learning environment for all of our students. Again, this is not political. This is preemptive. And as a Board of Education, it's our responsibility to ensure that every student who walks through our doors feels supported and able to focus on learning. When students or families fear that accessing education could put them at risk, it can create barriers and undermine that mission. This is a resolution that is not about changing federal law or interfering with lawful enforcement. Instead, it's about clarifying procedures, ensuring consistency, and reinforcing existing legal protections for students, privacy, and access to education. This resolution outlines clear protocols for staff, affirms compliance with valid judicial warrants, and reinforces our obligations under FERPA, and ensures that any interaction with immigration enforcement is handled through appropriate administrative and legal review. It also emphasizes transparency, training, and communication with families so that everyone understands their rights and our district responsibilities. Ultimately, it's about creating clarity for our staff and reassuring our families that they have stability within our school curriculum, within our school district, and that our schools should remain places where children can learn without fear or disruption. And again, we already asked for a resolution, but again, it's just to provide clarity and transparency. And if anybody has any questions, you can feel free to contact me. I did have this reviewed by some immigration advocates who are well immersed into the space, so it was put together with thoughtful consideration for our families. And again, it's just for us to have guardrails in place so that our students are not going to school living in fear and are able to get an education without having to think about external circumstances. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move on to the, I'm sorry. We'll move on to voting in this resolution. Roll call.
Mr. Campo.
Yes.
Ms. Cintron.
Yes.
Mr. Holleran.
Yes.
Ms. Pino.
Yes.
Ms. Armstead.
Yes.
Dr. Berghammer.
Yes.
And Ms. Thomas.
Yes. Thank you. Passed it. All right, thank you guys.
You have to go, but thank you, everyone.
At this time, we're going to move on to the education report. The Education Committee, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools and Assistant Superintendent, present the following motions to the Linden Board of Education for approval. Items 1 through 28. Respectfully ask for a second.
Second.
Is there any discussion on the education report? Ms. Intron, did you have a question on the education report?
No.
Okay. Any?
Thank you.
Okay, roll.
Yeah, I just need, this is not the report, but Dr. Perkins, when is our next testing for the different departments?
NJSLA adaptive testing will be starting in April, late April and early May. So the last week of April into May.
And are we on track to get our scores up? I know we were falling behind in our math or reading and our sciences. What programs we have in place to help improve our test scores?
Well, yes, to answer your question, the first part was, are we on track for preparation for student testing and accountability? Yes, we are. Within the classroom, there is specific student-centered based instruction that is geared towards the student levels. We also have our Admentum platform that the learning path is for each student, and it adapts to their learning ability level for our New Jersey standards. You secondly asked if we are, what other preparation is going on. There has been tutoring, there has been peer-to-peer tutoring, after-school tutoring, tutorial tutoring for interventions for our students. One of the things we did this year is to increase the parent-homeschool connection. We developed secondary parent-teacher conferences to communicate with our parents. Each middle school and the high school developed A failure is not an option plan to ensure that our students and families are aware of the academic growth and also putting systems in place to support their growth.
Okay, I just needed another question. I know last year we were also talking about Edmonton and how the training for Edmonton doesn't really help with translate to good test scores. But yet we continue to use the Edmonton, and it concerns me. Improve test scores. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my first thought is that I will need more information because I'm not aware of a discussion that Edmonton is not effective for our district. That's a platform that we've been using for several years now, which has actually provided really positive results because it allows us to see year-over-year growth per student. They're not measured by the person next to them, but how they performed from the previous assessment that they took from the fall to the spring school year, as well as the previous school year. If Edmonton also provides data which is under the student's learning path that allows the teachers to meet with students in small group instruction for enrichment as well as interventions to help support them. If there's more information as far as the board looking to seek for a new program, then we should meet and talk about that in committee to see what that can look like for the future.
The reason why I asked that question is because the 2025-2026 test score states that Edmonton scores. Recent data indicates a drop in a test scores achievement, especially in English and additional ELA languages.
If you can please provide me with that information. This is the first that I'm hearing of it, so I'm unclear with what you're identifying, so we can look into this more, and then I can give a full report to the board of exactly what you would like to do and get more information.
It said it helps in elementary school, but then in upper education, we need to look at other training for students because Edmonton, there's concerns over Edmonton and whether or not it translates to effective test scores. Listen, I just want, us to, we have a test score, we have tests coming up pretty soon, and I would really like our students to get good test scores for the ending of this next school year. So that's why this has concerned me. I've been doing research, and this is what, and I would be happy to send this information to you, or this is public information on the websites.
Right, so thank you. Please do share that. So to address what your two concerns was that you want to ensure that if the test is valid, we picked this platform over 5 years ago because it is in alignment with the New Jersey State Standards. And the New Jersey State Standards is what is expected of every school district to use to train students on different standards of their grade level. We currently, for this year as a district, we implemented a new Edmonton competition challenge, and we're actually in the process of finalizing those results that I'll have available at the next board meeting. And speaking with the math supervisor and the ELA supervisor just yesterday and earlier in the week, they are seeing positive results of student usage. We did see where there were gaps of student usage on the middle school level, and that's why this competition was put in place to hold all students and families accountable. Another piece to ensure that we are addressing student achievement. It is key for two areas. Chronic absenteeism is on our strategic plan as one of our goals to ensure that we are pushing forward with our students in the district. And then secondly, to increase parent-home-school connection. In order for students to expect achievement, we all have to be on the same page. That is part of our ROAR initiative for the end of the R, relationships, embrace the human connection. So we are looking at all areas to ensure that we are meeting students where they're at. We did have progressive growth from last year, and that was shared out in October during the annual superintendent's presentation of our test scores, and I'll have more data specifically for Edmonton at the next meeting once we get those current results for the winter assessment.
And can can you explain our targeted intervention approach to improving test scores?
Yes, on each grade level, there's different targeted interventions in place. It's called MTSS, Multi-Tiered Systems of Supports. When students' test scores are in, we first start with ensuring that our teachers understand what the data is. We have a data team. We have an instructional leadership team. They look at each question on the assessment, and then they meet with our data supervisor, and we then develop what problems of practice may be out there to ensure that as a district, we're targeting those skills for growth. Students who are, and we're really proud because we've had 6 students who were recognized earlier this year for having a perfect score on ELA and math, which we have not seen in the past. In addition to that, for that targeted instruction, students are placed in tutoring. They're also with that small group instruction where teachers meet with them individually at their skill level. And this is where, again, Edmentum comes in that helps the students, because the research says that if students spend 40 minutes per day on Edmentum, their direct learning path, those skills will help them to develop stamina and also student achievement in standardized testing that will be taking place in the spring. I like to also just note, which is going to look very different for this school year, is that New Jersey has now developed a new standard assessment. So Dr. Berghammer, the test that's going to be coming up in April and May is the first year that we're doing a New Jersey SLA adaptive test. So we're going to have to wait for those results to come back because we won't be able to measure apples and oranges because it is a new assessment.
So then if the New Jersey just developed a new test scores, was that, how does Edmonton fit into this, because I know, in fact, we were talking about the problems that are going on right now in even some of the school districts. We can't even talk, I don't want to name districts, but could you explain some of the concerns that you have been hearing? Madam President?
Just wondering how the students will adapt to the new test, fear-mongering of not knowing what that looks like for them. A lot of students, the fear of the technology and the test being on iPads, as well as AI grading responses, the written responses, so those keywords and things, so not giving the student an actual chance to write out their responses on paper and have it reviewed by their teacher, you know, whoever the test instructor is or whoever's grading, it'll be AI. And it has come up that may be a challenge for our students. As humans, we give grace and we look at things and we know where our students are going and we know our students versus the technology. So just wondering if we're prepared for that. Has that been discussed with our students or our staff? What does that look like for them and for us?
Right, so yes, so with NJSLA, we're a one-to-one district. So students have been taking assessments on their iPads for the beginning of the school year. And we also had to do a field study in October where all students had to test on the NJSLA. This came from the state, as all districts had to introduce the platform. And so we went through training, starting with our technology to ensure that we had the bandwidth, also the support services. So the students are familiar with the test setting. To ensure that students continue, because it's all about the stamina. When we're talking about for an extended period of time, they have to sit and assess. They have to do it at their own level, and no one can help them. I'm going to bring it back to that's what Edmentum does. You sit in front of the computer. It's an adaptive test. It is all skill-based, connected to standards. That's what a standardized test is, skill-based connected to standards. This is the first year that the state is saying it's now going to be adaptive, meaning that if I am starting to, the both of us are taking a test and we start off with the same question, based off how we answer, the test will adapt to our ability level. So my question number 7 may look different than your question number 7. That's what Edmentum does now for students. The goal is that the end results, I can't speak to AI given the results of the test because that doesn't come to the district. Like, we don't have any bearing or input from how the test is graded. But I will say from what we did in October, from what the state shared with all districts, not just Linden, is that there's still some areas to tweak. But as we move forward, the assessment data will show the growth of each student that's measured against state standards. So in the classroom now, from 3rd grade through 11th grade, there is that assimilated testing environment by working on Edmentum independently because it is a skill-based program. And are there other programs? Yes, and if that's something that the board wants to look at down the road, we'll have that discussion. But then secondly, it is also supported by those additional layers after the students are working independently. They have small group instruction, center-based, where the teachers meet with students at their level, and they go through different tasks to help our students with measuring that growth. So I have limited information because it's new and it's not out there, so I hear the frustrations. It's big for all of us because this isn't the first time that we've had a new test adapted. Previous to NJSLA, it was PARC. Before that, it was NJ Ask. Before that, it used to be Terra Nova. So standard-based instruction is always going to, assessments will always continue. It's just that we have, we're not leaving our students out there to wait until testing time to have them assimilated to the testing environment. We do that now.
And what type of training did the teachers and the supervisors and the administrators have to prepare them for the new testing? Because you know, if you have, even as an adult, you can't. People have to be trained in order to teach. So my question is, what type of training did these supervisors and teachers have to prepare them to teach the students?
So with every standardized test that takes place every spring, there's mandatory training that the district testing coordinator must go to, led by the New Jersey Department of Education. Once that training is conducted, he comes back and turnkeys it to all of each school's testing administrators, and then with the principals, they then turnkey it to the teachers. So this is a regular cycle of exposure and training that our teachers must go through whenever there's standardized testing. So that is in place. But I want to reiterate, school districts do not teach to a test. We teach to standards. The test is a tool, it's a platform that we expose the students to once we get those rights from the state. So there's sample assimilations from the state that's all given to the principals as well as the teachers, and then the students can see it that way. But it goes back to what our day-to-day curriculum is. And it's teaching our students the skills necessary to carry out the tasks that's related to grade level standards.
Would board members, do you think would you like a presentation in our next board meeting so that we could get a better understanding of what's going on with the testing and the preparation? You know, it's like, I don't know. I know how difficult it is for me as an adult to be able to change, and I don't know. I want your thoughts. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that would be a good opportunity for us to hear what was learned, since there hasn't been any data produced. So just gaining that insight into how they provided it to our instructors would be insightful.
Then what key factors is used to measure results, and how the students are transitioning from one? Agree, we cannot teach the test, but we have to prepare for test. There's a difference from teaching for test or preparing for tests. All right? So the question is, do we need a presentation and how that looks? What do you think, Ms. Pino?
Can they give a presentation on it? Because she said the adapting test is something that they can do, but can you give a presentation on it to let us know what's going on and to see where and how and when, and for the kids to jump in? Is it more easy for them? Or, of course, everything's going to be a challenge because this is new for them. So this step one, try. Let's see what happens. And if we give a presentation, we take it from there and we see what's going on to let the kids know that this is what you're up against. This is what's going to happen. And nothing for nothing. Don't be afraid of it. Just look at it and adapt to it. Okay?
Right. And I want to reiterate that the students have been exposed to the platform. In the fall, there was a mandatory statewide field test that every district had to push out. So in October, our students did sit on the platform. And again, that's where I shared that our technology had to be in line with ensuring the testing could be carried out. Everything that happens in the spring assessment window happened in October because the state wanted to see those results as well of what this looks like, and then they continue to create the test. We don't actually see the test, but we do have an understanding of what the platform looks like.
Okay.
And to answer your question, yes, I can provide the presentation.
Yeah, it's just that we, there's all the changes going on, and we are being asked to approve stuff without enough information. And I think it would be helpful for us to get the information that is needed.
Absolutely.
I wanted to see.
Are there any other questions on the education report? My only question is in regard to the calendar. I know spring break isn't listed on number 22, but just wondering, I've spoken with a couple of board members in regard to the updated calendar because of those snow days. So we were inquiring about keeping the Friday a day off versus half day, returning Monday, and possibly adding a day to the end of the school year, a half day, only because we were concerned that there may not be a high turnout. We know once we approve the previous calendar for the school year, people made, reservations and have things going on and, may not have set up for a half day on Friday. And maybe some people might be like, hey, yeah, send the kids back. But just wondering if that would be a possibility. Not sure if anything has come up across the district. Nothing has come to us in email, but I'm pretty sure it's been conversation because it's cutting spring break short.
Right. So where we're standing right now, I did have the principals look into surveying their staff because we, one, have to make sure that we have our staff here. And so we are in great shape with staff absences for what we have thus far. My concern with moving the date for the last day of school has, it impacts our student enrollment because the last day of school for students is on Monday, the 23rd currently, and the 24th is the last day, the 22nd is the last day for students. High school graduation is already set for the 23rd. And then to tell students who have graduated already to come back to school on the 24th, I believe we won't have student enrollment as high as we will have it for the 10th because we're preparing. And that's what we've seen historically, that when there is a snow buyback day, that if it falls into the spring break week compared to extending it because of those graduations that are already set for the end of the year.
Are there any other days off between spring break and the end of the school year, not Memorial Day? Maybe a PD day or anything like that?
PD days are only in the afternoon, and so we're in school. But yes, we do have those 2 days on the calendar, and that is Memorial Day Monday, and then also June 2nd, which is the election day. And historically, we've been closed on that day because our schools are polling sites, and for safety and security, the schools are closed.
I try.
Well, understand. So we leave it up to the parents if they send the kids to school. We want them to come to school, but if they don't come to school, will they be
Better speak in the
penalized for
mic.
not coming? I gotta say it all over again? Okay.
I heard you.
You heard me? Okay, I understand what you're saying, Malaysia, Ms. Thomas. But like she said, we probably can't do it, but if the kids don't come to school, what? We want them to come to school, absolutely, but parents, if it's a half a day, they're not gonna come to school, so they're gonna be penalized for not coming to school?
Which day are you referring to? On
The half a day.
On
The half
the
a day. The spring break. The
April?
spring break, yes.
this goes to our chronic absenteeism. As a public entity, we have to report our daily attendance. So that's why we're encouraging our students.
I would think they would definitely, it would be counted as an absence. Now,
Right.
Yeah.
to the board president's point, I would think that if someone has scheduled a vacation based on the initial calendar, they might be able to talk to their building principal about
To
that,
say,
but
okay,
if you're
yes.
here and there's school, you should be in school. It's just like, I don't feel like going that day, I'm not going to go. I mean, you could do that, but there'll be consequences, right? Every decision has a consequence, right?
Yeah, they're not coming. They're not coming. Okay,
All right.
you tried, Madam
I
President.
tried. I tried. Come to my board hours. I did say it was April 2nd. It's actually April 1st, and it's not a joke. All right. If no further discussion, let's vote on the education report. Roll call.
Mr. Campo.
Yes.
Ms. Cintron.
Yes.
Mr. Halloran.
Yes.
Ms. Pino.
Yes.
Dr. Berghammer.
Yes.
And Ms. Thomas.
Yes. At this time, we'll move on to Buildings, Grounds, and Securities Report. The Buildings and Grounds Committee, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools and the Business Administrator, Board Secretary, present the following motions to the Linden Board of Education for approval, items 1 through 11. Respectfully ask for a second.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Campo.
Yes.
Ms. Cintron.
Yes.
Mr. Halloran.
Yes.
Ms. Pino.
Yes.
Dr. Berghammer.
Yes.
And Ms. Thomas.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Moving on to the Planning and Policy Report. The Planning and Policy Committee, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, present the following motions to the Linden Board of Education for approval. Item 1. No action in this
Okay,
meeting.
there's
We've
no-
approved, we second. Okay.
None.
Well, at this time, we do have to go into executive session to discuss our personnel as well as finance report. Did you want to give your presentation now?
Whatever you guys want.
Yeah, if we go into close, we're going into close only for personnel. Finance is not
We can't.
something, yeah. So, you could keep finance till after we get out of executive, but there's no reason to do it now if you don't want to, but
John, you have a presentation, right?
Yes.
Yeah, let him do his presentation. We'll ask all the questions we want in public.
All right. So at this time, our board secretary, business administrator, is going to give us the report.
Wait. Malaysia, that anybody ever tell you she's crazy? She's crazy.
You want to go real quick?
Oh,
All right, we're going to have a little bathroom break.
He said, that's my girl.
I know he'll say that. I know he'll say that.
Question is, outside of
Go
some of
with
the
the
people here on the board and all, how many people actually read through the budget? Thank you. I'm going through budget line by line, but
No, you crazy.
yeah, well, I do
gonna
that.
tell me
This
you're
is
crazy.
budget. This budget, and hopefully the Linden Sewage Authority.
Take one for the team. Yeah. My brother would say, I could use some time to practice.
I think I could consider this as a community activity,
Oh my God.
like being a student representative.
Okay, you guys, oh, people went to the.
This is like an extracurricular, but this is like more as for our community.
I got nothing PG.
Yeah. I was just finishing that.
No, sure, yeah. You want to do Joe?
Season is over.
What's that?
He's just starting to come to meetings.
Yeah.
Season's is over.
In fact,
We're waiting for-
in fact, I was in the office the other day, bring the iPad in, I was talking to Topaz. And she gave me a calendar for the rest of the year, but she just said, just let me know.
We're just waiting for Ms. Pino.
Yeah,
Schedule.
I think we can
So
start.
can work around
Should
that.
jump right in.
All right, so we're going to get started. So tonight is the presentation on the preliminary budget for 2026-27. The 26-27 budget starts July 1st, 2026, and goes through June 30th, 2027. This is the budget that covers the next school year. The presentation tonight is a culmination of about 5 months' worth of work, including, almost every single administrator, principals, supervisors, and it was all the work was done to create this for our Board of Education, which is a budget book. The budget book, for those of you who it's your first time receiving it, is going from a macro view to the micro view of the budget. What we're giving you guys is all the work. We have an intern in our district who, when I was explaining the budget to her, what I said was it's not one budget, it's actually thousands of little budgets. The way that we put together a budget is we're looking at each individual account line, and we're looking at things like the history of spending within those lines, and we are trying to create what we think is going to be the spending for the next upcoming year. We start off very conservative, and when we say conservative, that means that we budget higher. When we get into the budget process, when we start getting things like revenues and state aids, when we start adding things up, we have to get a little bit more, I would say a little bit more liberal with the numbers. So the first thing to remember is that a school budget is a balancing act. There's the needs of the school versus the needs of the taxpayers. If you ask principals, they would want more and more, obviously, because they want the best for their kids. Obviously, doing that causes taxes to increase. So what we're looking here is to kind of strike a balance of what the communities can afford versus what's best for the students. Putting together the budget, we have to remember that it is a projection. It is our best guess for what's going to happen budget-wise for the 26-27 school year. We're basing our future budgets, like I said, based off of past spending. I'm also looking at things like projections, salary guides, enrollment numbers to see if there are needed additional staffing, if staffing can be reduced. It's also math, okay? It's revenues need to equal expenses, and taxes cannot exceed the budgetary cap restriction. So budget obviously is about numbers, but numbers aren't necessarily exciting. I like to kind of think of a budget as a story. So we're starting off, and this is sort of the prologue to our budget for 26-27. And these are really the issues that we're facing for, not just for the 26-27, but currently what we have been facing. And really one of the biggest issues that we have is space issues. We are a district that, as you'll see every month, Dr. Perkins is reporting on our enrollment numbers that have been increasing. The makeup of the program is also changing, as you can see in regards to the program requirements. We have an increasing multilingual population, and we have an increasing special education population. Special educations have different requirements than regular education students, and that actually can add to our space issues. And finally, we do have some facility issues. We do have HVACs that need to be upgraded. We do have efficiencies that we would like to achieve. And we also have upgrades that need to be done. Now, the good is that we really have a strong reserve for the district. When we did our audit presentation and our audit approval, we started off the year with a very healthy balance in our fund balance, a little over $4 million, our capital reserve, which is at $45 million, our maintenance reserve, which is at $3 million, and emergency reserve, which is a touch under $1 million.
Could use some of that.
These are all of our savings accounts. Okay, so these are, some of them are, break in case of a rainy day. Others are monies that we've saved for specific capital projects. Another thing to note is, as part of the audit, we had almost $6 million in excess surplus. So this is money that is going to be used to support the 26-27 budget. Another good piece of news, and this happened during the budget process, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, is that we did receive state aid numbers, and our state aid increased yet again. It was up about $4 million, which is really all driven by an increase in our equalization aid. But we had to do something this year, and I'm going to be talking about this a lot. It was things that we had to do this year to kind of balance the budget. Because we did have to, for the first time since I've been the BA here, we've had to budget for extraordinary aid. And I'll talk a little bit about that later. So we talked about a lot of the goods. Now here's a little bit of the bad. We've seen massive health benefit increases. There was a massive increase as of January 2026. In preparation for that, we changed health benefit plans. The change actually goes into effect April 1st. But even with that change, we are seeing a big increase of $4.3 million within the line. We have our negotiated salary increases. We have our out-of-district placement costs that are increasing. Our substitute costs have increased over the 25-26 school year. In addition, as I spoke about before, we do have special education class sizes that are increasing. We're actually being required to add up to 6 more classes. With the classes, that's also teaching staff, that's aides that need to be included, because there are regulations when a student is classified in a certain way. So to balance the budget and to have a 0% tax increase, because we're cognizant of the fact that we are, we're in an economy right now with the inflation that's going up. We're recognizing what's going on in regards to the energy market. I mean, over the last 2 or 3 weeks, the price of gas has gone up 25%. Like I said, the inflation. So we're cognizant of that. We don't want to add to the pressures of the city. So what we've done is try to keep a 0% tax increase. To do that, because of all the costs that have been going up on the one side, even though our state aid went up $4 million, it wasn't enough to cover all of the costs that we just spoke about in the previous slide. So what we've had to do to balance out the budget is to reduce expenses in some of the other lines. We've had a removal of summer school funded by general fund. We still have summer school programs operating, but they are at the Title I schools. We did have a reduction in maintenance costs. We're budgeting to do less preventive maintenance in the 26-27 school year. We're reassessing our out-of-district substitute cost as well as our out-of-district staffing for our security teams. We are reducing positions that have not been filled. We had positions that were budgeted for in the 25-26 school year. They have not been filled. Not teaching positions, but more along the back-end secretarial type positions that we said, listen, if it hasn't been filled, we're not going to budget for it in the 26-27 school year. The 25-26 school year had a one-time expense of uniforms. That came off the books. So that really wasn't necessarily a cut, but it's just an expense that we are no longer incurring. We had textbooks that actually, if you've looked at the budget books that have been given out, the textbook line actually went down significantly. The reason for that is a sort of an anomaly, and we're going to get to that in a little bit, or actually later on in the presentation. And finally, we had conservative budgeting that had to be abandoned in some expenditure lines. We, for instance, were told that our federal funding needed to be budgeted at 75%. We've budgeted at 85%. You know, I've never experienced federal funding that has been below what we received in years past. So we really didn't want to go too far down there, because if we reduced that funding, we would have to further make cuts throughout the budget. We also, you know, for our out-of-district placements, we assumed that the placements will be on current, or rather that the additional placements will be in current placements, so that we won't have to incur additional transportation costs. In years past, when we've had placements, because again, this is talking about conservative budgeting, I don't know where those placements are necessarily going to go. The child study team doesn't know where those placements are going to go, because they are placements that we believe are going to happen during the course of the 26-27 school year. What we do is we set aside money, because we say, listen, we can't guarantee that this kid is going to be sent to the same special education placement as somebody else. We're going to budget money there, because again, we're doing conservative budgeting. Now we're saying, okay, we're going to take this assumption that that student, which, like I said, it's a, you know, we're certainly high confidence that they will be in one of our special ed placements, but again, I can't necessarily guarantee it. Despite doing all that, we are continuing with almost all of the current programs that we have. You know, as I spoke about, some of the summer school programs are being reduced. We are adding new staffing as needed for the special education and multilingual. We are, with the extra money that we received from the state, expanding our pre-K program. We're continuing with our technology. We still have money set aside for our one-to-one initiative, as well as our Promethean boards and cybersecurity. We're continuing to fund capital upgrades to the building and to the grounds, and we are doing an expansion and enhancement of our alternative program. So this is a slide that, you know, a pie chart kind of showing where the money is going to. As you can see, almost all of it really, you know, does go in one shape or regards to students. You know, everything that is in here is something that is going to be improving or helping the education of the students. And this is, there's a one-page document that I gave out for the members of the public. This is just a presentation on it. It kind of speaks to some of the items that I've spoken about previously. You know, you're seeing some increases in the bilingual education. The co-curricular is just, I believe, 1 or 2 activities, as well as the settlement factoring in to that agreement. Summer school ESY sees a big decrease, as we spoke about before. It's no longer, the summer school program is being funded with general funds. We're seeing an increase on the alternative program. Again, we're looking at expanding that program. When we get to the next set of categories, special education, like we spoke about, seeing a big increase to absorbing those additional salaries for those additional classes. Big increase in regards to attendance. That's actually due to additional hires that were made during the 25-26 school year that are being carried forward. The big decrease you're seeing in the library media is not necessarily a reduction in positions as much as it is a reduction in monies that were set aside for things like library services. Operations and maintenance of plant. As I spoke about before, we are seeing reductions in our maintenance and our custodial lines. It's not reducing staff, but is reducing preventive maintenance. As I spoke about before, we are looking at reconfiguring the outsourced security that we have for the district.
Is there a typographical error on your slide before? Look at security.
Yes.
is going to be half a million?
It's going down from 2.8 million to 2.3. And finally, we get into the administrative lines. We've reduced some of our legal costs, not getting rid of you, Joe, but again, making the assumption we've budgeted in the past for things like judgments against the district. There's been money that's been set aside in there. We've reduced it, again, not because it is what we want to do, but it's sort of what we have to do to balance the budget. Our transportation, like I spoke about before, we are looking at reducing the expectations there in regards to placements and kind of hoping that they do kind of fit into where we're currently putting them. As I spoke about before, we have a big increase in regards to our employee benefits, a 14% increase, $4.3 million. Overall, we have a budget of $197,999,458. Again, we spoke about some of the improvements that we're doing. We are adding staff for special education. We're also going to be talking about some of the improvements that we're going to be looking to do for our capital budget. It's important to note that the items that I'm going to be talking about here are capital funded. As I spoke about previously, we had money set aside in our capital reserve, so we are fully funding these capital projects with our savings. So it's important to note that if we cut anything from there, it's not that, oh, then we could use that money for something else. It would just be less money that we were taking out from our capital reserve. Our capital reserve is designated, those savings accounts are pretty specific. When you have money in your capital reserve, you can only use it for capital projects. So, like I said, I just want everyone to be on the same page in regards to that. We are doing, and I apologize to Jay and Rowley because I know that this is going to be yet another summer. Every time that we get to August and September, we're like, we're never going to do this again. It's too much work. As you'll see, and we're looking at the resolution tonight, we do have a lot of work that we are planning because, again, the last 3 or 4 years, with the support of this Board of Education, we've been very adamant about improving the school district, improving the look of the buildings. What we're looking at doing now is addressing some of the space issues. Again, there is a long-term fix that needs to be done for this district. While we're before we're getting to that point, we're going through every single building and we are looking at closets, we are looking at libraries, we're looking at media centers, and we're saying, can we cut this down? We could still have, for instance, the media center, but can we maybe get a classroom or two out of here? We looked over here, there's a custodial closet that's very deep. We said, listen, maybe we can make a classroom or a small group instruction out of there. We've been doing that the last couple of years. We've added, a classroom here at School 1. We've added probably 2 or 3 classrooms at School 2. We've added classrooms at the high school. We've looked at splitting classrooms. And we're continuing doing that because, quite frankly, we need the space. So to address some of the space issues here, as I spoke about, we're looking at renovating custodial closets, doing office renovations for schools 2 and 5, doing office and classroom renovations at School 8, doing a split of the libraries at 9, 10, and 4 to try to create space there, as well as doing new office space and classrooms at School 9. We've talked about aging facilities. If you've ever been to School 2, I forget which building, which building is it? Which is the one that we're doing the floor at? B building. Yeah, the B building. We've kind of identified that as a building that does need some work. When we've gone down there's flooring, ceiling tiles, lights. It all really doesn't look good. So we're looking to address that at School 2. School 5 has pre-K sinks that they've asked for to be done. We're renovating rooms with new furniture at School 6 for the kindergarten. We're repointing School 8. We're doing flooring at School 9. Cabinetry work at School 10. The Soul PAA system is looking to be replaced. The nurses' bathrooms look to be renovated. We're looking at renovating the last office, the main office in the last building. We also have a district-wide BAS system upgrade. It's boiler automated system. This is to allow for remote login for our boilers so that they can be turned on or off and the temperature can be adjusted. Again, we're continuing with the aging facilities. We're looking at science room renovations. We've been doing that the last couple of years. We've been renovating science rooms at the middle schools as well as at the elementary schools. We're continuing with that. We're also looking at doing new science furniture at the high school. School 9 has some of its rooms being renovated. School 10 has grade level renovations, including new furniture. We're looking at redoing the culinary room at the high school. We have lighting and ceiling investments. Anyone who's been walking through really any of the buildings will see that we have new ceiling tiles and new lights. This is both an upgrade to make the buildings look better for aesthetics, but it's also a savings on our energy accounts. We're using LED lighting, which is reducing the cost of our energy bills. And then, some new work, some additions. We're looking at new basketball hoops for schools 2, McManus, and Soul to kind of match the basketball hoops you'll see here. We're looking at redoing or doing some landscaping at School 6, handicap parking for School 8, a new McManus scoreboard, whiteboards at Soul, a renovation of our PDRC building, and finally, a new locker room field house renovation. So again, this is a cost estimate. We've gotten proposals from some vendors. We've done some estimates in regards to some of the other costs based off of prior knowledge. We've gotten estimates from our architects for some of the work. We've totaled that all up. It's a little under $8 million, and that is being withdrawn from our capital reserve as to fund these projects. We do have some equipment too, a golf cart, a wrestling mat, some music equipment, and like I said, the Promethean boards for technology. So we've talked about the expense side, now we'll talk about the revenue side. As you can see, the general fund tax levy is about 46% of the budget. State aid has been increasing more and more during my time here. And then there's various other areas, grants, Medicaid, tuition rentals, budgeted fund balance. So overall, as we spoke about, we are looking at keeping the tax levy flat. We are seeing an increase in our budgeted fund balance. We are seeing an increase in our Fund 20 grants. We are seeing, and that's really driven by actually a carryover for our preschool. But the big increase that we're seeing is in regards to our state aid once again. So I would like to thank the board for advocating for us down in Trenton to receive that money, as well as the mayor's office. So we have a budget of $197,999,458. The revenues equal the expenses. We have a balanced budget. Our tax levy is not beyond the cap, so we have a budget that we are able to submit to the state. And again, we are talking about reserves and making certain withdrawals from there. A big reserve withdrawal from our capital reserve. However, you see it's still very healthy. We have about 38, we're projecting to have about $38 million in there to tackle any future projects that we need to handle in regards to the budget. We do have savings accounts that we can still tap into. While we did cut down on our maintenance accounts and our maintenance and our operations, if push came to shove, if we truly had an emergency, we are able to tap into that during the school year. So again, we've made these cuts, but we have a little bit of a blanket over it. And again, our fund balance, which you can see is that we're kind of budgeting a big increase, and we're going to talk about why we're doing that a little bit later. So, in terms of the taxpayers, what is it that we're looking at? Because the value of the city went up, And because taxes stayed flat, we're actually proposing for, I think it's the second or third year in a row, a cut. Even though it's flat, the impact on the average home is a reduction in your tax bill of $14. So kind of a history here. Since 2019, 2020, the district has not seen an increase. And in fact, in 23-24, with the increase in state aid that we received, we were able to pass on those savings to the taxpayers of Linden and actually have a tax cut. Now, if you saw this in your heartbeat, you would be very afraid because it's, you'd be basically, zeroing out. For taxes, though, this is great because, as you can see, we haven't had a tax increase. The taxes have been, in regards to percent changes, have been at 0 since 1920 and actually dipped down to a -2% increase for 23-24.
Let's give us a round of applause for that.
And again, what does all this matter? Let's, it's always perspective. Like, you don't know, is it a good deal or not? Well, you always know that by comparing yourselves, like if you were buying shoes, is $100 good? Well, I don't know if I could get it for $50. Well, we're going to say, listen, here's some of our surrounding different districts. And if you lived in these towns, you would actually be paying $1,000 more per year on an average assessed home. $600, so almost $700 more in Union, and almost $300 more, again, on the average assessed home for last year. I couldn't give this year's numbers because I don't have their budgets done yet. So the next steps, we have a preliminary budget. So that is being on the agenda tonight for approval. Once that's approved, I send that down to the state, actually the county offices. The county reviews it. There's a bunch of other documents, if you can believe it, with this budget book, but there's more documents that they actually want. They review it, they will approve it. Then we will have a final budget presented to the board and to the public April 29th. When that's voted on, that is the final budget. That is the operating budget for 26-27. One thing I want everyone to know, because again, this has kind of been a last minute thing. We did get the state aid relatively late compared to other years. And the reason for that is whenever there's a changeover in governors, they usually take a little bit more time to review their items. So we got the budgets a little bit late. We sent out the budget books. I actually have updates because the budget books that I gave you, we didn't have the final numbers for our pre-K budget yet. When we got those pre-K numbers in, they kind of changed some other things within the budget. So if you guys can bring your budget books back, we can give you guys the updated sheets. I want everyone to know that even though we're asking you to vote on it tonight, and we do need the budget passed tonight because it is due tomorrow, we can still make changes to it. We could make changes tonight if you want. We can make changes after it's approved. We can make changes really up to the final budget presentation. So I don't want you guys to feel like you've been rushed into this. So going forward and looking at the budget analysis, state aid increases, we were seeing $7-8 million there. I remember when we first got here, we saw a really big increase, which was why we were able to give the tax cut that year. They're still increasing, but it's not as much to cover our expenses. So that's something that we need to kind of keep in the back of our minds for future budgets. We also have a concern about utilizing savings to fund operations. We are, in years past, if we ever had excess surplus, we would utilize it for one-time expenses. Now we're actually using it to support the budget, and it's becoming more and more. We again are addressing some of the space issues, but they just continue to happen. So while we're kind of putting Band-Aids on it right now, we are going to have to eventually have more of a long-term solution. I spoke about this before. The textbook reduction was actually a one-time reprieve based on the timing of the renewals. It tends to be that once a year we have one big renewal that we need to do, whether it's for our history textbooks, a lot of it's online, or math textbooks. Last year we actually had 2 renewals that happen at the same time, and this year we had 0. So you'll see a big dip in that textbook number. So while it won't be as bad, in terms of expenses like we had last or this current year of $1 million or so, it's also not going to be, $100,000. So we are going to see an increase on that. Another thing that I really wanted to stress is that taxes are historically low here. You've seen that the pie chart and the graphs that we haven't had an increase. We actually can't cut our taxes right now. The state of New Jersey would not allow us. The state of New Jersey, like they always do, they have these formulas, and we have formulas to create to calculate what our state aid should be. The state actually has a formula based on the number of students that you have and the makeup of your students. And it's, you should be spending X number of dollars on this type of student, Y number of dollars if a student is designated an ML student or a special education student. If they're a regular ed student, this is what we should be charging. And they come up with what's called the adequacy budget. Now, when I first started here, and I know Dr. Tomazik used to talk about this a lot, that we were actually over adequacy. Over the last 3 years, we've gone under adequacy, and now we are, I think, like $10 or $12 million below adequacy. The state is actually, per their formula, our taxes should be more. So it's really a credit to everybody here, because what they're saying is, because we're, I think, doing certainly more than adequate, and we're doing it with taxes that are very low for the district. So as I said, that is the end of my presentation. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a couple questions.
Yes.
You said we get a $6 million surplus, right? What are we using that money for?
With the surplus, we've been putting the money into, it's being utilized to support the budget. So I can't give you a specific line item that it's being utilized to support. It's supporting the overall expenses of 26-27.
Does that help us? Is that one of the reasons why we have a 0 tax increase?
Yes.
All right. And then, based on the information we have here, I know that we just had a new annual budget where staff and everybody is going to start getting an increase annually.
Yes.
Based on the information that you have given us right now, how would it affect the increases of staff next year, in the next school year?
In terms of staff salaries or?
Salaries, yes.
Well, the budget is built off of the negotiated agreements. So the way it works is we put in all of the salary guides for next year. And we say, okay, the system has it that everybody, whatever step they're at, you're going to advance 1 step up. What's your salary there? So that all gets factored into the budget. We've factored in whatever the increases were going to be.
So that means we would not have to, we could give the salary and we wouldn't have to lose staff.
No, not like I said, we've factored that all in.
Okay.
We're not looking at a reduction in any staffing in regards to that.
We also got a $4 million in state aid.
Yes.
I know that we were expecting, we thought that we might possibly get less than that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got a decent amount of state aid. How does that also, that $4 additional million, how are we using that to support the district?
Well, when we first put together the budget, before we had the state aid number, again, we're doing conservative. We budgeted a flat state aid number. We budgeted flat state aid. We budgeted flat taxes. And when we ran the numbers in early to mid-February, we had something like a $6 or $7 million deficit. Mm-hmm. So, kind of forward thinking, I didn't think we were going to get a $7 million increase in state aid. Mm-hmm. So we began cutting and making certain, reductions, some of the reductions that we spoke about here. Probably like a week or two before the state aid numbers got reduced or came out, we had a deficit of something close to like 3.7 million. So the $4 million was kind of able to erase that deficit.
Yes.
And then we were able to put some money back into some of the lines that we had previously reduced.
I know that because I know yeah. All right, and regarding the health benefit increases and the utility.
Yes.
I didn't see you spend a lot of time on utility when utility is blowing us up everywhere.
Yes.
How does the utility cost now affecting the budget?
Well, we have budgeted for increases there. The two things that we're looking at to mitigate cost is one, like we have been doing the last couple of years, is the electric upgrades. The second thing that we're looking at is we are shopping our energy and our electric. In previous years, I think we were just going with PSE&G. You were able to actually shop where your third-party supplier is. That was something that we previously board approved. I actually got an email today from our energy consultant. So we did budget for an increase on our energy costs. We really, the events over the last couple of weeks, we weren't able to budget for a bigger increase in our gasoline, but knock on wood, we're hoping that this increase in the gas prices is temporary. That said, it's when we get into the school year, if some of our assumptions are incorrect, the state does, and this is what we do once a month, is we are able to transfer money to cover expenditures that look like we're not going to be able to cover them during the course of the school year. And then, like I said, hopefully some of the other assumptions that we made within the budget, don't come to pass, and we have a little bit of a surplus there.
I have two more questions.
Yes.
For all that money, we have $197 million that we have in our bank accounts.
Yes.
Why our interest is only $100,000?
Well, I budgeted a little bit conservative there. The truth be told, in our capital reserve, we've been seeing a bigger increase in regards to the interest. But it's also important to note that in terms of cash flow, the money that's coming in is going out pretty quickly. We are receiving, the state aid and the taxes. We actually don't receive anything in June. They push that off all into July. But the money that we're coming in is basically going out. So in our operating, in our current expense budget, it tends to be that we don't have a lot of money in there. And Pam will tell you that there's actual times, because we have a separate bank account for our capital reserve, she'll come in and be like, oh, John, I have to transfer money to cover us for the time being, because we actually don't even have any money, or when we cash flow, when we project it out, we're not going to have enough money to cover all of our expenses. We have the cash, and it's like almost like a timing issue. But we do, and the other thing that's important to note is that the money that the interest that's generated from the capital reserve can't actually be utilized for the operations. It has to stay in the capital reserve account. So it's one of those weird things that the state kind of requires us to do.
My last question. I see you doing a lot of renovations, and I think you're right, because our buildings really do need a facelift, and I'm impressed with all the renovations you're doing. There's a question that really concerns me, is that, Dr. Perkins, our student population is growing, as you always say, it is growing. Don't you think it may be a good idea for us to build an office in every school and have a supervisor in every school? With that will be additional support for the principals. I know some schools have vice principals, but I think in having the supervisors all over the place, I think each supervisor, we should be having an office in each building or the buildings, and a supervisor. I learned that in our last meeting about a supervisor could also be a principal. I learned that in our last board meeting. So why aren't our supervisors located in our schools, and they now could also help to support the principals?
Okay, so we would have to answer your question is because why aren't they there? It's because that's not how it was set up, but if that's the recommendation of the board, we'll be looking at the space for each building, and we can talk about that more in closed.
I would really like that. I would really like us to look into that because the principals need help. The schools are growing. And besides the work of the supervisor, they should also be there to support the principals. So you're doing science split, you're doing library splits, all these different spaces that you now acquiring. I would like you to consider see that we could create offices to bring the supervisors in the schools.
Would that change anything with the money-wise?
No.
Being that we are budgeting things and we're throwing new stuff in there, we try not to really spend too much. But it seems every time we try to save something, we always spending. So now, one more question. The preschool, you say you just got the numbers for the preschool?
Well, we received the notification in regards to the preschool.
Okay, so those numbers will be put inside there, or they're gonna be, you're gonna wait to put them in? Or can they?
No, when I first gave you out the budget books, I kind of did a placeholder because the number, I didn't get the completed budgets till Monday, Tuesday. I really wanted you guys to have these budget books earlier because I wanted to give you guys some time to review it. So we did get preschool numbers. I obviously plugged in the state aid number because I knew that. We had a carryover amount of a significant portion. It was like almost $3.5 or $3.6 million. So that's been plugged in there as well. And we actually have some other ideas too in regards to the pre-K program that we'll be discussing in executive.
Thank you. I appreciate you doing this because it takes a lot of time and work for you to do this.
Thank you.
You said we did another presentation from the budget?
Well, it's up to the board if they want to hear it all again. I mean, it would basically, if there's not a lot of changes, I probably wouldn't do it.
Excuse
Some
me?
people kind of like don't want to hear it again.
Okay, so there's one more question I had to ask you. So if there's any changes, okay, let's just say we go through what we got to go through. If there's any changes, we can make changes?
Yes.
In the budget? It would
You
be
could, yeah, like I don't want, and that's what I'm saying, I don't want you to think like this is set in stone because again, I realize that you got the budget books late, it's kind of,
papers.
but if you want to, you can make changes. It's just, like I said, ideally let me know before the meeting, but I've been at place, I've had one or two times where people have made changes at the meeting, which is fine, you can do that, but just, it's a little bit easier if it's a little bit before because I can make sure the numbers work.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it. Gotcha.
I asked my questions during committee, so.
I want to ask a question though.
Okay.
Regarding page, page, 50 on the report here. The two questions that I want to have. All these projects here, we already got RFPs out for all of them?
Oh, no. I mean, we don't have, we've gotten proposals from architects, we've gotten proposals from outside vendors, but we wouldn't be really pushing anything out until we know that the board wants to do these projects.
Okay, so with the proposal, so we will have an idea of what each one of these jobs will cost?
Yes. Like I said, the architects will estimate a cost for us because I will ask them, say like, obviously I'm budgeting. I need to know what it's going to be. Tends to be that architects, want to look good, so they kind of go very conservative with the numbers, so that if they say it's a $500,000 project, it comes in at $450, I'm happy, you're happy, the architect's happy, because we're able to do the project. So I tend to feel like the architect's numbers are good, but usually just a little bit high, just because they want to make sure that the project gets awarded.
And this is like a 3-year plan, or this is just for this summer? This has to be a 3-year plan to get these jobs
See,
done,
that's why
right?
Jay and Rolly are the best, because this is
Just this summer.
this is summer, okay?
This
That's
is a lot
why,
of work,
that's what I'm saying,
yeah.
Jay and Rolly, like, without them, we couldn't, do all this.
Yeah,
Thanks
and-
for flexing, Jay.
Yes, and also, I am reading this. They say on the second to last paragraph, all right? This the third to last paragraph. They say NJAC requires board members to receive approval of these expenses by a majority of a full voting board, membership of the board and staff to receive prior approval of these expenses by the superintendent of school
What page is that?
on page 50.
Right here.
Yeah, one of the requirements of the Board of Education and during the budget process is approval of travel reimbursements. So we've set aside, a maximum dollar amount that, we've currently spent, I think it's up to $97,000 or $100,000. We do have other funds that are encumbered. The amount that we had approved for prior year was $275,000. So we shouldn't necessarily, we're definitely not going to go over it, but we should get, I don't want to say close to it, but we should be right around $225,000. Again, we want to have a little bit of a cushion room because not that we want to do extra travel. It's just kind of like a maximum amount of where we can go with it.
My whole question is that it's like a misnomer for me, is because we are the superintendent's boss, but the superintendent have to approve our stuff. How does that work?
Would the superintendent approve what stuff?
Well, listen, we don't spend all this money, but it says here, but it has to be approved by the superintendent of school, our travel.
Well, not your travel. It's when they say Board of
It said board
Education.
members to receive approval. It says board members to receive approval of expenses by a majority of the full voting membership of the board, and staff members to receive prior approval of these expenses. So is the staff members approve the expenses?
Yes, yeah, it's a
All right.
board. The board. Tia
I didn't
can't. Dr.
understand
Perkins
you.
can approve you guys. You can
Yes.
only approve you guys.
Yes.
But when we receive requests for travel reimbursement, when we were getting requests for PD and there's travel reimbursement associated with it, we've done this at meetings where we've talked about it. Does it make sense? Should we approve this? Is it, I always like to use Joe's phrase, is the juice worth the squeeze? So is it worth it to, $5,000 for this PD or $500 for this PD? We are cognizant of the fact that, we want to be very efficient with our money. So like I said, we kind of see and check to make sure that, that it's, necessarily worth it.
Listen, this is awesome, okay? You did an awesome job.
Thank you, guys.
But me, I always ask a lot of
Hey,
questions.
listen,
I
that's
don't
what we're here for.
understand it, I gotta know it. This is big money here we dealing with.
A lot of money.
So, forgive me for asking all these questions, my board members, please forgive me.
No, people, and some
Everyone else,
questions that
we
we
good?
may not have. Be good. You guys good? You good? You good?
So far.
All right.
Okay, so we need to know, okay.
Thank you, everybody.
So you're okay to pull that?
Good job, John.
John,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Very good, John.
Yeah, you wanna move and vote on it?
Yeah.
We could vote on this now. I get all my questions answered.
All right.
Shut up, man.
Financial.
Great job. Good job.
Thank you. At this time, we are going to move on to the finance report. The Finance Committee, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools and the Business Administrator Board Secretary, present the following motion to the Linden Board of Education to approve items 1 through 22. I respectfully ask for a second. Is there any discussion on the finance report? Roll call.
Mr. Campo.
Yes.
Ms. Cintron.
Yes.
Mr. Halloran.
Yes.
Ms. Kalia.
Yes.
Ms. Pino.
Yes.
Dr. Berghammer?
Yes,
And
yes,
Ms.
yes.
Thomas.
Yes. Okay, at this time, we are going to ask if there are any unfinished business, new or unfinished business that the board wanted to bring up. The only thing I wanted to mention was last month, I believe, I asked about the transition program that we can possibly put into place for our rising seniors from elementary to middle to high school. Dr. Perkins, I know we spoke briefly about some of the conversations that you've had with principals and, thoughts and concerns. Can you touch on that just a bit?
Yes, so the principals believe that it would be best to conduct videos with students-led input to share out to the rising ninth graders and the rising sixth graders into middle school in the life of both of those schools. So with our media team, they are creating scripts with students, and it will include features from the mayor, as well as board president, the principals, and students. And they're going to walk them through the day in a life. They'll be showcased for the students in groups with their social workers, and also we're going to pair up with our WebEx platform so that there is an opportunity for students to speak to those other students in the other grade levels. So it also just helps. We're also going to share it out with families, so it's available before the school year ends. And then in the summer, there will be that the normal orientation where the students will be in the buildings.
Thank you. And will there be like a walkthrough of each of the schools in that video? So you enter through this door,
Yes.
These are your classes, this is the time in between, you exit here, like those type of...
Yes, it will be real life, real time experiences at the middle school as well as the high school. A big piece that we see with our middle schoolers is even learning how to use the lock, understanding that they have to walk independently, structures, locker, to know what books to take. So yes, we're going to go through every layer, and I'll show you the outline of that as they're producing that, and if you have any additional input.
Okay, and what is our estimated timeline of having that completed?
They said after, because we're going into the testing cycle, and so that it will be mid-May, early beginning of June to start sharing that out with the students.
Okay.
But they're going to be developing the video after spring break.
Okay, thank you.
If I may say something, I cannot visualize that. I cannot. Transition. Transition is something is like a moving up. All right? And because transitioning is like a moving up, the way how I visualize transitioning is, of course, with some of the stuff, Madam President, you discussed about touring the high schools and doing more college tours and stuff like that. But I think transitioning is a partnership. It's a bridge. It's bridging the middle school with the high school, bridging the students from the middle school with the students from the high school. And I know that teachers should be involved in it, but most of the bridging is really student-focused and student-centered, in the sense that transition is like a big brother kind of stuff. And I think that we really, transitioning is a key to success, right? We all know that the proper formatting for transition is what breeds success. So I think we really need to look more into our processes, because this is what's gonna transition. Like, for example, some of our middle schools right now, or some of our schools, we having problems wearing uniforms. So if we are taking that transition to the high school, it's going to create more problems in the high school. So we have to find ways of addressing it now, because it's going to rise to the next level. So I really think we are as strong as our weakest linked. So in order to strengthen our transition, we have to start not top down, but bottom up. We have to look at our weak link. We have to address our weak link. We have to fix our weak link, and then transition up. Because if we just start to transition without fixing our weaknesses, we're going to just carry the problems, move the problems up.
That's a good point, Dr. Berghammer, and I think that was the initial thought behind creating this program, because it was brought up mid-year. The school year is almost over. I think also coordinating and just the timing and everything of that kind of delayed us in what we really wanted to do. So I think it was the next best thing we could offer for the kids moving up now. But I think next year, to your point, we should be looking into all of those things and make it a real transition program.
Because the videos are a good idea. Don't get me wrong, the videos are a good idea. I think it's a great idea because the students rather to look at the videos and talk to each other. This is the generation we're living in. But it's how the videos are framed. We spent $1 million on a studio, so this studio really could use, it could be very, very beneficial in transition, but it's what types of videos we are really putting out there, and how are we utilizing the big brother, big sister role in order to assist with the transition. I think the transition should be a student-centered stuff. They should be doing it. They need to keep us out of it because they know the problems, and most of the time they have the answers to the problems. So it should be their project, and we are now there to just supervise it. We need to be in the background, all of us, and let them show us what they need to do in order to get the help they need to get from one level to the next.
Yes, and that's exactly what we're doing, right? This is student-led. The students are going to be providing questions that they may have so let's example, 5th graders, what are your concerns about 6th grade? It's going to be given to the 6th through 8th graders so that they can answer and then put it in a video form. So it will be created in the studio with students. It will be part of their live news broadcast. Everything that we're doing in the district is student-led, and it does go back to what the principals shared specifically from the high school with 2,000 students in the building. It was structurally a big concern to transition 8th graders into the building during that time because the teachers have to be in front of students. Every classroom is already utilized by the day-to-day of the students. So in order to do something like this, it would need to be carried over maybe 4 to 5 days time period to have smaller students there because we're going to have students lead them through the building. So it was all about safety and security and creating logistics for carrying it out this year. But for next year, yes. And then that's why they do have the summer programming where they will go on site, and those are led by the students too. So when the 6th graders go up to the middle schools, we ask that those middle schoolers come in and volunteer for services. And then they walk them around in a tour and continue the conversation. All of it is student-led to answer your
But they should
statement.
also be going and sitting in classrooms. They should be part of the process, not just being taught. But if we have an opportunity to get them in classrooms with some of the teachers that will be teaching them in the future, that too could also help them.
And that's where the logistics comes in, where it's going to take over a longer period of time because there's 700 students that's going to be moving up to a middle school, and we can't have that in a one day while there's other students there too, right? So it's all about the logistics. The idea came, it's going to come to light, but this was just to ensure that 2 things are happening. We're getting students involved early so that they can see that they're not alone and that they do have a voice and that we understand the transitional period is important to them. And then secondly, it provides an opportunity for the community also to continue to support our students because they'll have this resource too, because it tags to it takes a village and no student is alone with moving forward to success.
Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you. Too much time. You ready, Madam President?
Thank you. That's all I have for new and unfinished business. At this time, we're going to move on to executive session. So I'd like to, we're going to call you in the back, Mr. Tron. So we're going to move on to executive. I'd like to make a motion to do so and respectfully ask for a second.
Second.
Roll call.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have one new business.
Oh, you have a question on finance?
Just one new business.
Oh, new business. Okay.
One thing. So hi, thank you. I'm sorry. So I've been listening to parents, the frustration and aggravation as far as like the traffic and the morning pickups, the afternoon, the morning drop-offs, the afternoon pickups. And I was wondering if we could set up a meeting with maybe like the principals who state that there is problems with the school traffic, with the traffic department from the Linden Police Department. I know that they have drones and maybe they can see like the pattern, see what the issue is and try to come up with a plan, because residents are complaining about their driveways being blocked and parents are expressing their frustration as far as like when they have to drop off their kids, they're hoping that their kids are not hit by a car or they're being yelled by a crossing guard and so forth. So can we set up a meeting with the traffic department and also the principals who state that they do have some issues and they would like to have like some type of new pattern in order to avoid all the issues that are going on with the pickup and drop-offs, the school traffic?
Yes, Ms. Cintron. Please email me what schools that you're aware of, because we actually have a meeting on Monday with the traffic department, our district security, and we're going to be talking about traffic patterns for schools that have been identified.
Oh, great. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Perkins.
You're welcome.
That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Pino?
No, I'm good, thank you. I'm good.
All right. Roll call.
Mr. Campo, this is, oh, we left? Ms. Cintron,
Yes.
this is to go back in executive session. Mr. Holloran,
Yes.
Present.
Ms. Kalia,
Yes.
Ms. Pino,
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
Yes, sorry, yes.
Dr. Berghammer,
Yes.
and Ms. Thomas.
Yes. Motion to go back into public. Respectfully ask for a second.
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 Roll call.
Ms. Cintron, oh, she's not here. Mr. Holloran,
Yes.
Ms. Kalia,
Yes.
Ms. Pino,
Yes.
Dr. Berghammer,
Yes.
and Ms. Thomas.
Yes. Okay, at this time, we are going to move on to the personnel report.
Yes.
Hold on. Okay. The Personnel Committee, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, present the following motions to the Linden Board of Education for approval. All appointments and reappointments are contingent upon and may be modified based on student participation in the district's receipt of sufficient state, school aid, and other revenue funding. Respectfully ask for a second to approve items 1 through 33.
Second.
Any
Well,
discussion?
I second. You make a motion, I second.
Oh, you and Ms.
Or should
Pino.
I
so-
make a second?
Oh,
Yes,
second.
she did.
Yeah, my turn.
Roll call.
Mr. Holloran,
Yes.
Ms. Kalia,
Yes.
Ms. Pino,
Yes.
Dr. Berghammer,
Yes.
and Ms. Thomas.
Yes, thank you. So we are going to adjourn tonight's meeting. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Respectfully ask for a second. Roll call.
Mr. Holloran,
Yes.
Ms. Kalia,
Yes.
Ms. Pino,
Yes.
Dr. Berghammer,
Yes.
and Ms. Thomas.
Yes. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Yes, good night.